My husband laughed at my $12,000 raise. I quietly took his role, became his boss's boss, and declined his reapplication. Twice. He always used to say I was just a secretary with a pretty face. Said it with a smile, like it was some kind of compliment. Like I should be grateful someone like him even gave me the time of day. So I smiled back, laughed at the jokes, took mental notes, and quietly laid the foundation for the day I would walk out without saying goodbye. It's been 2 weeks since I left Marcus. 2 weeks since he walked into our apartment and found it empty. Furniture gone, closet cleared, bank account silent. 2 weeks since he realized the woman he belittled for 7 years had become his company's newest silent investor. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start with a happy hour and a typo. It was a Thursday. Rainy, muggy, the kind of weather that makes your blouse cling to your back. I remember because I was holding a soggy umbrella and a takeout bag from that overpriced Vietnamese place Marcus hated when my phone buzzed. Marcus. Ugh. Not pho again. You know how that crap makes the apartment smell? No, hi. No thanks. Just passive-aggressive disappointment. I replied with a thumbs-up emoji. It was all I had energy for. I had just finished a 12-hour shift covering for our receptionist who had an emergency appendectomy, and prepped the quarterly investor summary that Marcus forgot to submit on time. Marcus worked in sales. He liked to call it strategic acquisition, but really, he was just very good at charming old white men over golf and pretending he knew what net profit meant. I worked as an executive assistant at the same company. Different floor, different department, different universe. He never said it directly, but I knew he thought his job mattered more. He brought in deals, took clients to steakhouses, spoke in buzzwords like synergy and disruption. I managed calendars, contracts, and the CEO's life. And I was damn good at it. The first time Marcus said it was 6 months into dating. You're too smart to be a secretary, he said, sipping a $16 cocktail at that rooftop bar I couldn't afford. I'm an executive assistant, I corrected. Lightly, playfully, still trying to impress him. Same thing, he replied with a grin. Just saying, you could do better, if you weren't so scared. That word stuck. Scared. I wasn't scared. I was surviving. I was 25, fresh out of a toxic workplace, trying to rebuild confidence and pay rent on time. But sure, call it fear. Over the years, the insults got smarter. More dressed up. He'd say things like, "Let me check with HR first. You wouldn't know the policy stuff anyway. You're lucky I'm good with money. You'd probably sign up for a timeshare by accident. Babe, I'm just more business-minded. It's not an insult. It's biology." Biology. This man once spilled boxed wine on his company laptop and tried to dry it with a hairdryer. Biology, my ass. The real shift started when I got promoted. Our CFO, Lila, called me into her office one morning and asked if I'd consider a move to operations. Said she'd noticed how I ran meetings, how I anticipated problems before they happened. Said I had executive presence. I said yes before I could talk myself out of it. I told Marcus that night over dinner. He blinked. Oops, but you don't have an MBA. I told him I didn't need one for the role. He stabbed his steak. You know what? It's cute. You're playing with the big dogs now. Just don't get eaten, okay? Cute. Not congrats. Not I'm proud of you. Just cute. I started writing down things he said after that. Not for proof, not for anyone else. Just for me. To make it real. Like this one. April 4th, 7:38 p.m. You think being employee of the month means you're suddenly smarter than me? Relax, Queen Secretary. Or this. May 15th, 11:12 p.m. You can't keep up with me intellectually. It's fine. You're emotional. It's your brand. My brand. Apparently being emotionally intelligent and organized meant I was fragile. Apparently being analytical while female was laughable. I stopped arguing, stopped defending, started saving. Around July, Marcus started coming home later. Not suspiciously late. Just gradually. At first it was 7 p.m., then 8 p.m., then 10 p.m. He'd walk in smelling like expensive bourbon and a cologne I didn't recognize. Said it was from a vendor meeting, said he was making moves, said I should chill and trust him. Funny thing is, I did. Just not in the way he thought. The promotion came with a raise. A big one. I didn't tell him how big. Instead, I opened a separate account using my maiden name. Set up an auto transfer from my paycheck every Friday. It started with $250 a week, then $400. By the time October rolled around, I had enough for first and last month's rent at a luxury high-rise downtown. Still I waited. I needed something more. Not proof of cheating. Proof of disrespect. Something undeniable. It came on a random Tuesday night, over chicken stir-fry and Netflix. He said, "You know, it's kind of hot watching you play a career woman. But I hope you're not actually thinking you could run something big. You're detail-oriented, not leadership material." I didn't even respond. I just added it to the list. In December, I was looped into a project that required me to shadow the executive board. Marcus didn't know. One of the senior board members, a venture partner named Elias Keating, took a liking to me. Not in a creepy way, but professionally. Said I had range. Said I asked good questions. Said I should consider a seat at the table. That's when everything clicked. I wasn't going to leave Marcus. I was going to outrank him. When the company announced its new funding round in January, I pitched an idea to Lila, an internal mentorship and productivity initiative that I would lead. It got greenlit. And because of how it was structured, it involved every department, including sales. Marcus walked into the kickoff meeting late, carrying Starbucks, talking on Bluetooth. Didn't even see me at the head of the table. Until I cleared my throat. "Thank you for joining us, Marcus," I said, voice steady. "We'll be reviewing departmental metrics shortly, including yours." He blinked. "Wait, you're running this?" I smiled. "Welcome to the big dogs." Later that night he tried to reassert himself. Tried to flirt. Tried to sulk. Tried to guilt trip. "You're getting too cocky," he said. "I don't like this version of you." I kissed his cheek and said, "I know." That was 6 months ago. Since then, I've moved money, documented everything, built professional alliances, and prepared an exit plan so seamless it felt like copy-pasting a checklist. And 2 weeks ago, the final piece fell into place. Lila offered me a direct report to the CEO, Marcus's boss's boss. The irony nearly made me choke on my La Croix. The day he got fired was not poetic. He didn't cry, didn't throw a tantrum, just walked into our apartment, dropped his keys and said, "Apparently my communication style is too aggressive. Whatever that means." I nodded. He flopped on the couch, scrolled TikTok, said, "Guess you're the breadwinner now. Better not screw it up." I watched him, this man-child in yesterday's hoodie, scratching himself while double-tapping thirst traps. And I felt nothing. Not hate, not sadness, just nothing. I said, "I'm going out for milk." Picked up my bag. Walked out. Got into the lift I'd scheduled days ago, and never looked back. "You'll be back," he said. I wasn't. And I won't be. The first night alone I stayed in a hotel. Not fancy. Not cheap. Just clean, beige, and forgettable. I lay on the bed, still dressed, staring at the popcorn ceiling, phone buzzing every few minutes like it was hiccuping. Missed call, voicemail, text, "Where are you?" Then, "Be serious. Stop playing." By morning, 22 missed calls, 15 messages, 1 email. Subject line, "We need to talk." He didn't realize I'd been talking. To HR, to legal, to Lila. About the shared lease, the joint accounts, the new role. The apartment was in my name. The utilities were in mine too. The joint account? I'd stopped contributing to it a month ago. All he had left was the couch, and his TikTok addiction. I moved into a small modern place not far from the office. It had 2 things Marcus hated: a kitchen backsplash with fake marble, and a balcony with a view of the dog park. He said dogs were needy. He said balconies were a waste of rent. So naturally, I adopted a dog. His name is Crouton. He's got 3 legs, trust issues, and a bark that could scare the devil. Perfect. The first week, Marcus went through stages. Confused. "Wait, you're actually mad?" Dismissing. "This is dramatic. You'll be back once you cool off." Blaming. "This is what happens when women get power. They think they're too good for real relationships." Begging. I miss you. I'll change. Just talk to me. Threatening. You'll regret this. No one's gonna love you like I did. Every message reeked of desperation, not love. Like a man watching the ATM eat his debit card. Then came the group chat drama. He messaged our mutual friends, spinning his story. She bailed on me right when I lost my job. All I ever did was support her career. She's acting brand new now that she's got some corporate title. What he didn't know? One of those mutual friends, Anna, was the office manager. And Anna had screenshots of his nasty DMs about coworkers, of the NSFW memes he sent during meetings, of the time he called a junior employee a diversity hire in Slack. She sent them all to HR. He was never laid off. He was terminated with cause. I didn't even have to lift a finger. But I did block his number. Eventually. It took me a week. A week of peeking at his voicemails like a car crash I couldn't look away from. There was one where he cried. Real sobs. The kind that sounds like a child who scraped their knee. For a second, I felt something. Not sympathy. Just the echo of who I used to be, the woman who would have rushed in with bandages. But I wasn't her anymore. Work became my sanctuary. My new role came with a private office, an executive coach, and a company credit card. But the real win? Marcus's old department reported up through my division. His former manager, now my peer, had to ask me for headcount approvals. I played it cool, never gloated, never name-dropped. But once in a budget meeting someone said, "Didn't Marcus handle this before?" I replied, briefly, and moved on. One night, 2 weeks post-breakup, I got a text from an unknown number. It was his sister. I don't know what he told you, but I just want to say, I get it. You deserve better. I tried to warn him. She offered to grab a drink sometime. I declined, politely. I was still detoxing. Not just from Marcus, from the version of me who thought staying small was safe. The healing wasn't cinematic. It was subtle, uneven, embarrassing sometimes. Like the time I stood in the cereal aisle for 15 minutes trying to remember what I liked. Marcus always bought the cereal. Said I didn't understand macros. Turns out I like Honey Bunches of Oats. And I eat it with almond milk. And I don't care if it's not protein-packed. Crouton hated his leash at first. He'd chew it, growl, refuse to walk more than 10 feet. But now he trots next to me like he's guarding a queen. Some mornings we sit on the balcony. Him sprawled like a loaf. Me sipping coffee out of a mug that says, "I'm not your secretary." It was a gift from Anna. Last weekend I ran into Marcus. It was at a coffee shop near the office. He looked smaller, thinner, greasy baseball cap, hoodie with stains. The kind of man who looks like a shadow of his LinkedIn profile. He froze when he saw me. I nodded. Not warmly, not coldly, just nothing. He followed me outside. "You look different," he said. I shrugged. "I feel different." He fumbled for something to say. Eventually landed on, "You win, I guess." I looked him in the eye and said, "There was never a game." And then I walked away. Lila offered to nominate me for an internal leadership award. I told her I didn't want the trophy. Just the power to build a pipeline of women who never have to second-guess their brilliance. She smiled. "I like this version of you." So do I. I still flinch when I hear a certain ringtone. Still double-check the locks before bed. Still feel that reflexive need to check in or ask permission before I do anything indulgent. But it's fading. Every day, it fades a little more. Last night, I lit a candle. Put on a face mask. Watched 2 episodes of trashy reality TV while eating Chinese food straight from the container. No judgment. No commentary. No guilt. Just me. And Crouton. And the sound of someone finally breathing freely. Final thoughts. To anyone stuck with a Marcus. You don't owe anyone your silence. You don't have to wait until it gets worse. You don't need permission to want more. Start small. Open that secret account. Write down the things they say. Ask yourself what freedom might look like, and what it might feel like. And when will you finally go? Let it be quiet. Let it be calm. Let them wonder. It's been 3 months. Marcus hasn't called in a while. Or maybe he has, and I just haven't noticed. He's been blocked for weeks. My life feels quieter now. Not silent, just steady. Like background jazz in a coffee shop. The kind of music you don't dance to, but it makes you feel like things are okay. The last time I saw him was entirely unplanned. I was at the office early, finishing quarterly prep before the board meeting. Crouton was at doggy daycare. I had my coffee, my binder, my new red blazer, the one Marcus said made me look aggressive. And then Anna knocked on my door. She was trying not to laugh. "You're gonna love this," she said. "Guess who's downstairs applying for a contractor temp role?" I blinked. No. Yes. Apparently, Marcus had burned through his severance. His friends had stopped returning his calls, and his mom told him he needed to start paying rent if he was staying in the guest room. So, naturally, he applied for a 6-month contractor role at the same company he trashed on social media after being fired. HR didn't even flag it at first. The irony? He wasn't applying for sales. He was applying for admin support. He didn't see me. I didn't want him to. I watched from the top floor as he sat in the glass interview room downstairs, fidgeting with his pen, eyes darting, hair still unkempt. He didn't look dangerous anymore. He looked tired. Like the weight of his own arrogance finally showed up on his shoulders. The HR director, Vanessa, called me later that day. "I assume you know this guy?" she said, voice amused. I paused. "You could say that. You're listed as an emergency contact in his old employee file." I almost laughed. "You can remove me." Vanessa didn't say much else, but a week later, I saw the internal HR note in the hiring system. Candidate withdrew application. No longer under consideration. I don't know if someone told him I worked here now, or if he sat with the idea of being an assistant and couldn't stomach it. Either way, the universe handled it for me. Last week my therapist asked me what closure looked like. I told her it looked like red lipstick, Target candles, a healthy dog with 3 legs and 0 tolerance for nonsense. It looked like sleeping in on Sundays and not having to explain why I didn't want a meal prep. She smiled and said, "So it looks like peace." I nodded. There are still things I unlearn daily. I still apologize when I bump into furniture. Still hesitate before swiping my card. Years of money shaming takes a while to undo. Still catch myself wondering if I'm too much in meetings. But those moments don't define my day anymore. They're just echoes. Soft and distant. 2 weeks ago, Anna nominated me for an industry leadership spotlight. The award came with a plaque, an email blast, and a Q&A panel at the upcoming Women in Tech conference. Someone asked what advice I'd give young women in male-dominated industries. I thought about saying something polished. But instead, I said this. Sometimes, the people who laugh at you the loudest are the ones most afraid of your potential. So let them laugh. Take notes. Build quietly. Then show up one day, not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. I still have the list. The one where I logged all the things Marcus used to say. Not because I need it anymore, but because it reminds me of how far I've come. The last entry? June 12th, 10:49 p.m. You'll be back. You can't survive without me. And now? I don't just survive. I thrive. Final reflections. This isn't a fairy tale. There was no dramatic courtroom showdown. No viral moment. No perfectly edited montage of success. There was just me. Doing the work. Healing. Crying. Learning. And laughing in the cereal aisle. Some days still feel like a mess. Some days I still miss the version of him I thought I loved. But most days, I eat what I want. Wear what I want. Sleep without fear. And walk into rooms knowing I deserve to be there. That's not revenge. That's freedom. Crouton barks every morning at the mail truck like it personally insulted his ancestors. It's oddly comforting. This tiny routine I never imagined would anchor my mornings. Coffee, slippers, mail truck, Crouton's outrage. My life now has rhythm. Not perfection. Not some Pinterest version of boss girl glow up. Just rhythm. The kind of peace you don't notice right away, until you remember what chaos felt like. A few days ago I got a text from an unknown number. It was Flora, Marcus's mother. "I'm sorry. For not seeing it. For what I said before. You didn't deserve any of it. He's been telling people you ruined his life. I know that's not true. I just wanted you to hear it from me. I stared at the screen for a long time. Not because I didn't believe her, but because I wasn't angry anymore. Not at her. Not even at him. Just done. Later that day, I found a box in my closet I hadn't opened since I moved. Inside, a photo from our first anniversary dinner. The journal I stopped writing in halfway through the marriage, a card he gave me once with a quote. Behind every successful man is a supportive woman. Back then, I smiled and put it on my desk. Now, I put it through the shredder. Piece by piece. This past Friday, our company hosted a networking mixer. All departments, all levels. I gave a talk about systems building and leadership flow. It was the kind of thing Marcus would have rolled his eyes at, called it corporate fluff. After the event, a young woman from admin pulled me aside. She looked nervous, clutched a small notepad. Said she'd read the internal newsletter about my promotion. Said she didn't think people like her could ever get here. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You're not just anything. If they don't see it now, make it impossible to ignore later." She smiled like she'd been waiting to hear that for years. I know the look. I used to wear it every day. A couple nights ago, Kira came over for wine and takeout. We were watching that trashy dating show Marcus once banned because it rotted my brain. Crouton was asleep under the coffee table, twitching in some dog dream. The living room was messy. A blanket half off the couch, open cartons on the coffee table. I looked around and laughed. Kira raised an eyebrow. "What?" "I finally feel like this is mine," I said. "My space, my nose, my mess." She nodded, like she'd known before I did. Marcus still exists. He's somewhere out there, telling people I cheated, stole, sabotaged. Telling his version to anyone who'll listen. I used to want to correct every lie. Now, I let them talk. Because the people who matter saw what I built. And the people who don't? They never really saw me anyway. I don't check his socials. I don't reread the old messages. I don't dream about revenge anymore. Instead, I take Croton to the park. I light lavender candles. I send my team thank you emails after hard weeks. I bought the expensive shampoo. I take the long way home sometimes, just to feel the windows down. I laugh louder. Sleep longer. Apologize less. Thanks for watching and diving into this wild family drama with me. If you love Reddit family drama, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one.